Hello Opals users. This tutorial will cover some ideas for cataloging your serials, journals, magazines, newspapers, and the like. For purpose of brevity in this tutorial, I'm going to assume that you've imported a serial record through Z-Import or wherever you may have gotten a serial record, and you're cataloging that record now. I'm going to use this example, Philosophy Now, and you'll see that here's the title. It began publication in 1991, and I have this red statement, click title above to see holdings, and I'll show you how I use that. I use a fake or a placeholder holding record to get that to show, and you'll also see that I have 4 copies in my journal cabinet location, but it says 5. The first one is really not a copy, it's just a placeholder, and I'll show you that right now. Remember, this says it was published in 1991. I'm going to click the title, which will open the expanded record screen. And I'd first like to just talk about the publication. Right here we see pub date is 1991 hyphen, implying that it's ongoing. But I suggest using a 500 note to tell your patrons, students, teachers, researchers when your subscription actually started right here. Library holdings begin with issue 113, April-May 2017. So let me just show you the MARC record, and I use a 500 field for that, a general note. And if we go down the MARC record, you'll see a 362, which is typical in a serial type record, issue number 1, summer 1991 hyphen. That's when this periodical began, but that's not when we got ours. We started in 2017, so I suggest a 500 note telling the user when you started getting the magazine, journal, etc. Okay, I'm going to go over to the holding record and show you the logic behind that. The first holding record is a placeholder. It doesn't represent an actual physical copy whatsoever. You'll see in the subfield I have put click title above to see holdings, which shows up in the red. I'm using the subfield I as that will not mess up your call number, shelf list orders, or for inventory, or anytime you need something in call number order. If we put in the enumeration, all these words may get in the way of a good shelf list order. So I'm using subfield I upon the recommendation of a very good library support person that I know. Give her a little shout out. So you'll see the first 852, I have it in the I, and that shows up in red, telling your patron to click the holding, or the title to see the holdings. My first issue begins in the subfield I, issue 113, April-May 2017, and there's my barcode. My next issue, 114, June-July 2017, followed by issue 115, August-September 2017, followed by issue 116, October-November 2017. If I wanted to add another holding, I can just put my cursor here. I'm just going to click Add Holding 1. I'll just make up a barcode. And now I have my brand new holding record, which will have to reflect the issue at hand, the next issue that I have. And the next issue I have happens to be issue 117, and it happens to be January, February 2018. So there's no volume with this particular publication, so I don't have a volume to put in. They use issue and months and year. So now I've added the next issue, which is 117, January, February 2018, and I'll save the record. All right, just remember that the very first holding, and by the way, you do want this in the I, all your issues. The very first holding right here is just a placeholder so that you can tell your patrons to click the title of the record to see the holdings. So let's do a search right now for Philosophy Now. We have searched for the record. We have Philosophy Now. We see click title above to view holdings or see holdings, we see that we have 5. This is a little bit wrong. Just remember that first holding record is fake. Just a placeholder. Let's click the title. I'm a researcher. I want to see if they have a certain issue that I need an article from. So I've clicked the title, and when this opens, it will bring us to the expanded record. And here's the expanded record. And we see that we have issue 113, 114, 115, 116, and 117. So maybe the researcher was looking for an article in issue 115, and they know you have it. If it was out, it would have a due date over here. But right now it's available, so they could go to the journal cabinet and find this item. And remember, I have a 500 note here telling the patrons of your library when you started collecting it. And just one quick review, that's a 500 note telling the library or your patrons when you started getting it, and that's in the MARC record, the bib record. But I'm just going to review the holding record one more time. Here we are. I'm going to the holding record, and just to remember, you'll use subfield I, and the very first one says something like click title above to see holdings or to see libraries holdings. Whatever. You'll never print a spine label, so it doesn't matter. And that's just a placeholder. Then the second one is actually something I can hold in my hand, issue 113, April, May 2017. And just make sure you put the enumeration in subfield I. I hope this short video tutorial has been helpful, and all the best.